All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. All right, before I get going with this video, here's something different that I haven't shared before. Stavros Papadopoulos, great guitar player from the country of Greece. And he's been kind of a big deal over there for quite some time. This is his album called Rare Tracks, and the Grooveyard record label put this together. I don't know, either this year or last year. I tend to order these things in large quantities when I get them, and then I go back and have to kind of go through it all. But yeah, this guy is a great hard rocking old school guitar player, a riff master, and a guy who knows his way around the fretboard. It's not for everybody. It's not overly melodic. It's a little bit more progressive, but it's very 70s ish. And vocally, he's very rough. Again, think ZZ Top after a night of hard drinking, I would say. Anyway, I like the music. He's involved in other projects on this record label. You can check them all out over at Grooveyard Records. Again, Stavros Papadopoulos. Trying not to screw up the name. With a name like Stavros, it's pretty unique, and maybe you might actually remember who he is. So great guitar work all the way around. Speaking of great guitar work, Eddie Van Halen, one of the great guitar players of all time. But the sad truth about Eddie Van Halen and Sammy Hagar is probably one of the reasons why there hasn't been a Van Halen reunion or tribute, or however you want to look at it. It would be a tribute to Ed. And we learned, I don't know, a week or two ago that Alex was talking to Joe Satriani, and Joe was kind of on board. And I don't know, it seems kind of surreal, but it still hasn't happened. And the reason it hasn't happened is because of things that were said years ago. That's probably, the crux of the matter. And Sammy Hagar wrote a whole book, and much of it was dedicated to his relationship with Eddie Van Halen and all the dysfunctional behavior that was going on. And I think Alex Van Halen just can't get over this stuff. He just can't. And I don't even know why at this stage everybody is holding on to this stuff. But the sad truth, as I have been saying in a few videos, is that these two guys didn't like each other almost until the very end. And I give Sammy Hagar a lot of credit for reaching out to Ed at the end of his life and patching things up. Obviously, that wasn't enough for Alex, but one incident in particular where Eddie Van Halen is out there talking about Michael Anthony's bass playing and singing abilities. He says, every note Mike ever played, I had to show him how to play. Now, does anyone think that's true? Seriously, does anyone think that Michael Anthony needed Eddie Van Halen to show him all of the notes that he had to play on bass guitar? I don't know. It sounds a little bit over the top. I mean, if Mike was such a bad bass player, why was he in this band? Why didn't like Ted Templeman or somebody say, look, dude, thanks for, playing the home game here, but you're out. We're going to find another bass player. I read the book. There was no mention of Michael Anthony being a liability on bass. But this is Eddie Van Halen talking here. He says, before we'd go on tour, he'd come over with a video camera, and I'd have to show him how to play all the parts. Adding that Anthony's background vocals were like a piccolo trumpet. Now, hold on a minute here. I don't know anybody on planet Earth other than this mention here who's ever had anything bad to say about the way Michael Anthony sings backing vocals. Now, Hagar was really mad, and he did this video called In Defense of Mikey. I think I've mentioned it a few times. But Hagar says in this article, for Eddie to say he had to show him what to play and then teach him all those songs, that's the biggest line of BS in my life, Hagar said. I was in that band for 11 years. There was never a video camera involved of Eddie showing Michael what to play. Eddie would just tell him what to play once in a while, say, no, Mike, don't play that many notes. Just stay on one note. So Hagar is alleging that Eddie could screw up on guitar if he told Michael to play the same notes. And while Anthony refused to be pulled into the never-ending mudslinging before his former band, following the Billboard interview, Hagar was up for the challenge. The singer next cited the band's 2004 reunion tour, Anthony's final trek with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band before being pushed out of the lineup, as evidence that Eddie Van Halen actually restrained Anthony's bass playing to cover up for his own inadequacies. Wow. So some hardcore allegations. Of course, we all know that toward the end of Ed's life, that when somebody, when they pass away, you're not going to continue to like throw shade on them. And Hagar took the high road and basically said, brilliant guitar player. And I don't think anybody realized how sick Ed was to the point where he died rather unexpectedly from cancer. But to me, all of this stuff adds up to this unfortunate situation where Sammy told the truth and the truth hurt. It hurt Alex. It obviously hurt Eddie, and it probably hurt Wolfgang a little bit too. And, Wolfgang recently was talking about how Sammy didn't want to play, didn't want to sing these songs, or didn't want to play, and now he's changed his mind, trying to make like Sammy into the problem here, and Sammy's not the problem. If your dad was being a jerk to Michael and Sammy, then that appears to be the sad truth of the matter. And for people who are, just thinking, hey, just get this thing together and just do it. Like I've been like, hey, can't we just get this tribute thing off the ground and just do it? The reason is Alex is still mad at Sammy. And I think Wolfgang will just play off of the people who are, making statements and make little statements, but nothing like too incriminating or whatever. Like he'll say something like, yes, Sam didn't want to do this. He also kind of took a shot at David Lee Roth. So there's more sad truth. There's sad truth about David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen as well. Roth basically said that Ed was culturally illiterate, and that might be true. That might be true. I think it's poor timing and in very bad taste, but okay. All of these things after Ed's gone, Ed can't defend himself here, and it just adds to the level of dysfunction. But the sad truth is, Sammy put out all of this information a number of years ago, defending Michael and calling Eddie Van Halen a liar. And I don't know how you recover from that. I mean, time tends to heal most wounds, right? You would think after this long, and now that Ed's gone, maybe everybody could just say, look, we all said some things maybe we shouldn't have said, even if they were true. I think that's part of the issue here is this stuff was true. And Sammy wasn't going to just let this go. And I'm sure Sammy was really frustrated because he was in this band for 11 years. He came back. The reunion tour kind of stunk. And he should have still been the singer of this band. But Ed was so mad that he was willing to bring Dave back. And no offense to Dave, I mean, Dave did an all right job in what, 2007, 2008, when they got back together again. I mean, did okay. And A Different Kind of Truth was a pretty good album, wasn't bad. But I'm thinking they could have made a much better album with Sammy involved. And at that point, too, maybe have both singers involved in it. But they had already decided that Sammy and Michael were out and they were going to continue Van Halen without both of those guys. And so, the moral of the story here is that because of this difficult relationship between Sammy and Ed, there probably isn't going to be any kind of tribute concert. And you can throw David Lee Roth into that mix. You can put Michael Anthony in there. You could put Wolfie and Alex. And, Wolfie complains about all the dysfunction. Well, he's added to it. He's another part of this dysfunctional situation. If he wanted to, his connections with this current generation of, I want to say rock stars, but people who have lots of influence, like Dave Grohl, for instance, I'm sure he could have gotten something off the ground. Maybe the other dirty secret is Eddie wasn't liked within the industry, and a lot of industry types are just kind of staying quiet because they don't want to throw dirt on someone's grave, and I don't blame them. And Sammy took the high road at the end, but the sad truth is it's too late. It's too late. Should Sammy have kept quiet? He didn't know. He didn't know what was going to happen 7 years ago. He had no idea. And he was defending his friend, Michael Anthony, who is a great singer and who is a great bass player. So in any event, I kind of side with Sammy, even though, he's tried to kind of take it all back. He's apologized for being so blunt. But he did say at one point, even during the apology, that it was all true, what he had said. So take it for what it's worth. I don't know. It's just really sad that those two guys got into such a rift that it has curtailed any kind of tribute to arguably one of the greatest musicians of the last century and into this century. So just very tragic on many levels. Anyway, if you like really great rock and guitar work, check out Stavros Papadopoulos. Yeah, he's not Eddie Van Halen, but he's pretty good. I'm thinking, if you want a little distraction and you want to just rock out and crank something up really loud, this is what you might want to be listening to. All right, people, again, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you can do Patreon for $1 a month, it's really appreciated. There's also a new memberships tab that you can click on. I think it's $2.99 per month via YouTube. If you want to do it through that, that's fine. I know people like simplicity. That helps the channel. It helps me. It's been a very roller coaster year for me as far as revenue goes, but I appreciate everybody sticking with me here. Patreon, I tend to be chatting with folks every day over there. So if you like the content, you want to reach out, $1 a month. That's all it takes. All right. I am done with this one. Thanks again, and I will see you soon.